if I didn't say, hey, I don't feel okay, and this doesn't feel right, and I need you to look at this and I need you to look further into this, when would I have found out that I had cancer? Because it wouldn't have shown up in blood work. It wouldn't have shown up on the other things because I had a unicorn cancer.
I was going crazy at one point, and I'm a very level-headed person. I'm very in tune with what's going on around me. I felt like I was completely gaslit. I think that's perfect wording for it. Yeah, they made me think it was basically in my head, and I can tell you it wasn't. It was in my leg.
My first name is Sarah, my last name is Wakeman. I spent my 30s kind of looking for purpose. I'm feeling like my purpose is kind of helping women advocate for their health. TMI maybe. I got my first period when I was 14 and they were awful right off the hop, to the point where I was laying on my floor, ceramic tiles in the kitchen, every time, Aunt Flo showed up or my menstruation happened. The pain was horrendous. So that was kind of always a thing, but I never knew any different. So I didn't really think much of it. Being diagnosed with endometriosis in 2016 through surgery, I knew what I was dealing with and it was getting worse and worse. And I was always told, just get pregnant. That'll stop your endometriosis. Because with each menstrual cycle, it grows. That's what causes it to spread and that's what causes it to grow. And I was just kind of over being in pain all the time. So I went to my GP and said, I would like to go back to the doctor at McMaster that did my surgery in 2016. I'm in pain all the time. My husband and I have spoken. We're good, just the two of us. I would really like to have a hysterectomy. It's really easy to just kind of sit back and wait because you think that's your only option, and it's not. And I didn't really take that as my only option. In January, a tumor was found in my reproductive system, and in February, I was diagnosed with cancer. So I went in on January 12th, 2024, and I will never forget for two reasons. Number one, my neighbor across the street was in the same hospital at McMaster having her baby, and then also my mom didn't come with me because I thought it was just going to be a meet and greet. And so it ended up being a full physical, top to bottom, everything. Let's answer all these questions. And then we're going to do a physical, which ended up being an internal ultrasound. And Dr. Tigdy was who I saw. And he was super chatty during this internal ultrasound until he wasn't. He turned the screen to me while he was still doing his internal ultrasound and said, I need to show you, this is what a normal ovary looks like. And then he showed me my right ovary and it was significantly larger and there was a tumor inside. And so I basically said to him after he told me all of this, can we have this conversation while you're not inside of me with an internal ultrasound happening? I feel like they just don't really know a lot about the disease. And so there's always kind of, well, it could be this or it could be that, or, it's just cramps, you're fine. Well, no, this is a really big fucking deal. And if I hadn't said, this is what I want for my body, if I hadn't said that, I wouldn't have known. Don't tell me how I feel and don't tell me that it's just ABC when I know it's much more than that. And if you're not going to listen to me, then I'm going to find somebody else who will.
My name's Sarah Taylor. January of 2018, I went in for a total hip replacement surgery. This doctor said he knew about my history. I don't feel that he worked with the specialists that dealt with my spina bifida enough to fully understand the way my body works, because it's not a typical hip replacement. But something went wrong in that surgery. I was told I was supposed to be in the hospital for 2 days and then discharged. I ended up in that hospital for 5 weeks. They wouldn't answer me. I would say, why am I still here? Is everything okay? Did the surgery go okay? And the nurses would come in and say, oh, you're okay, everything's fine. And I said, let me speak to the surgeon who did this. I just feel like something's wrong. The surgeon wouldn't even see me. Nobody would listen at all, like trying to get even an appointment to speak to the surgeon who did it. So once I did, he said, everything looks great. I went for my 1-year follow-up with him, and things had started to decline. They would tell me that, well, everything looks good in our imaging. We've done an MRI, we've done CT scan, and we've done x-rays, and everything looks fine on our end. And I said, well, what can we do about this? I said, because I feel I'm worse than before the surgery. I said, what do we do? And they said, well, we don't think it has anything to do with your hip or your leg. And I said, but that's where the pain is. They said, no, you have spina bifida. It's probably nerve damage from your spine. But I knew it wasn't my spine. They transferred me over to the specialist for spina bifida at Toronto Western Hospital. And they looked over it years and years and kept looking at my spine every year, an MRI. And they keep saying, this is living with spina bifida. You are now in your late 30s. This is when your body does start to decline. You don't have age on your side like you did when you were younger. And, this is what you have to deal with. They keep just giving me more and more pills and saying, the point is to keep you comfortable now. And all I said is, please, will somebody just look at my leg? This went on for 5 years. Nobody would look at it. The hip surgeon refused to see me again. He said, I'm sorry, it's your spine, it's not your back, or it's not your hip. And I disagreed. And basically I was told, well, you don't have a degree. Finally, something got a lot worse. Just this past September or August, it was end of summer. And I was standing in my laundry room, folding laundry, not doing anything strenuous. I didn't have a fall. And all of a sudden, I'm screaming in pain. It literally felt like my leg was just completely breaking. And this went on for about a month before I finally made an appointment with my family doctor. And I said, I can't take this pain anymore. We have to do something. So I ended up going to the emergency room. Within 15 hours there, not only did I get an MRI, I got a specialist to look at it, and she said, I don't understand how this could be missed. They looked at my leg. Basically what happened was the implant had completely detached from my hip and was rattling around, and it had sunk into my femur bone, causing my femur to split in half. And they said, this has been happening for years. They said, you've been essentially walking on a broken leg and a detached hip replacement for years now. I'll never go back to just letting it happen and being pushed over. I think the best advice is, really to advocate for yourself and make sure you're heard.